Dear students, welcome to the second year discipline of your paraclinical subjects. Today I'll be introducing you to the basic subject of pathology, its principles, its need in modern medicine. As we all know that the scenario of medical education is now competency based, meaning it is CBME, that is competency based medical education. And you have already undergone the foundation course before you have entered this medical school. Now, the undergraduate medical education program is now being designed with a goal to create an IMG. What is an IMG? An Indian medical graduate possessing the requisite knowledge, the skills, the attitudes, the values, responsiveness, so that he or she may function appropriately and effectively as a physician of first contact of the community while being globally relevant. So the basic aim of the medical education is to create an Indian medical graduate with adequate knowledge of all the preclinical, the paraclinical and the clinical subjects. In pathology, you have 36 topics with 182 outcomes. When we talk of paraclinical branches, it simply doesn't mean that it is just pen, paper and books. Paraclinical is the basic foundation stone to understand the clinical branches. So is it for preclinical subjects. Hence, your understanding of the preclinical and the paraclinical subjects is going to help you to understand the clinical subjects. Now, a learner who fails in the second professional exam will not be allowed to appear in the third professional part 1 exam unless he or she has passed all the subjects of the second professional exam. Now, so this is a slight change with the earlier thing, in which in spite of failing in one of the subjects, you could have appeared for the next year exams, but now it is not so. You have to pass all the subjects of the second year to be able or to be eligible to be appearing for the subjects of the final year part 1. Now, what is the principal goal of pathology? The principal goal of the second year pathology course is to foster understanding of the mechanisms of the disease, that is pathogenesis, which is the foundation for dealing with a vast amount of clinical information that the student will encounter in the future years. Now, basically the word pathology is derived from two Greek words, that is pathos meaning suffering and logos meaning study. Hence, the use of pathology facilitates medical education by helping us to understand the mechanisms in a more logical manner, and it helps us to understand the scientific basis of the art of medicine. As I've already talked to you, that pathology is derived from two Greek words. Study is logos and suffering is pathos. Pathology is thus scientific study of structure and function of the body in disease, or in other words, to simplify it, it basically consists of abnormalities that occur in normal anatomy, that is histology, and physiology. So the defects in normal anatomy is known as histopathology, and when you study this normal anatomy, it is known as histology. In first year, what you study in physiology is the normal hemostasis of the body, and when it gets deranged due to any kind of disease, it is known as pathophysiology. So basically, pathology is a bridging discipline that is devoted to the study of the structure and the functional changes in the cells, tissues and organs that underlie the disease. Now, pathology is a diagnostic and an investigative modality that also has visible expressions, like you can accentuate it with the different type of CT scans, the MRIs, the ultrasounds and the different molecular abnormalities. Pathology basically attempts to explore the whys of the signs and symptoms of the disease. What is sign? What we elicit in the patient. What is the symptom? What the patient presents to us with. Now, why do these signs and symptoms arise? Pathology explores these whys of the signs and the symptoms of the body. Pathophysiology includes the study of the disordered function or breakdown of homeostasis in diseases. Therefore, very important for you all to remember that pathologists are the diagnosticians of the disease. Therefore, knowledge and understanding of pathology is very essential for all would-be doctors, because for the student of any system of medicine, the discipline of pathology forms the vital bridge between the initial learning phase of the preclinical sciences and the final phase of the clinical subjects. Remember the prophetic words of the eminent founders of modern medicine in the late 19th and the 20th century, Sir William Osler. Your practice of medicine will be as good as your understanding of pathology. So the better you understand pathology, the better you will be able to understand the different clinical branches. Now coming on to the history of pathology, it has started from the era of medical antiquity to the era of morbid anatomy that was started by Morganghi. Autopsies were performed scientifically from way back in 15,000 AD in 19th century by the German scientists Rokitansky and Oshkov. And the application of microscopy has revolutionized medicine. Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, way back from 1632 to 1723, was a cloth merchant by profession in Holland, who during his spare time invented the first ever microscope by grinding the lenses himself, through which he recognized the male spermatozoa. So he is known as the father who invented the microscopy. Now, what is the scope of pathology? Now, the scope of pathology is very wide. It is basically a scientific knowledge about human diseases that is derived from observations on the patients, either by analogy or from experimental studies, and clinical medicine is based on the longitudinal approach to the patient's illness. What is clinical pathology? Clinical pathology is when we correlate the clinical conditions with the pathology or the pathogenesis of the disease. It is basically a cross-sectional analysis at the level of the disease itself that is studied in depth, the cause and the mechanisms of the disease and the effects of the disease upon the different organ systems. What do you mean by a patient? A patient is the person affected by the disease. What is a lesion? Lesion are the characteristic changes that occur in the tissues and the cells that are produced by the disease in an individual or in an experimental animal. Pathologic changes or morphology consist of examination of the diseased tissue. When we see the pathological changes with the naked eye, it is known as the gross or the macroscopic changes. Gross is what we can see with our naked eye. And what we see under the microscope is known as microscopic examination. Basically, pathology has two parts. One is gross or the macroscopy, and second is the microscopy, what we see under the microscope. Now, what do you mean when we talk of etiology and pathogenesis? We conglomerate these terms as etiopathogenesis, but basically they are two different terms. It is etiology and pathogenesis. The causal factors that are responsible for the lesions are included in the etiology, that is the why of the disease, and the mechanisms by which the lesions are produced is termed as pathogenesis, that is the how of the disease. So basically patho consists of two parts, why and how. Why is the etiology and how is the mechanism by which the lesion has been produced, that is how. The functional implications of the lesion felt by the patient are the symptoms, and what we discover in examination are the physical signs. Now, pathology has many subdivisions. Earlier we had just few subdivisions, but nowadays there are multiple subdivisions of pathology. What we most commonly encounter is histopathology, that is diagnosis of disease from the examination of tissues. That is, during surgery a tissue is removed, they send it in formalin, we dissect the tissue, we cut the tissue, we take it on the slide, we examine it under the microscope. This is known as histopathology. Now, what is cytopathology? Cytopathology is the investigation and diagnosis of the disease from the examination of the isolated cells. What do you mean by isolated cells? Exfoliative cytology. That is, when you're aspiring fluid, when you're taking this smear from the cervix, when you're performing the fine needle aspiration cytology, just the tissue is aspirated in the syringe, we take it on the slide and we examine the cells. It is also known as exfoliative cytology. Hematology is the study of the disorders of the components of the blood. Toxicology is a part of forensic medicine, but you have to understand it is basically the effects of the known or suspected poisons. The fluid during poisoning is taken for toxicological examination. Forensic pathology is a conglomerated branch of forensic medicine and pathology in which the use of pathology is done for legal purposes, that is, investigation of death under suspicious circumstances. Chemical pathology is the study and diagnosis of disease from the chemical changes in the tissues and fluids. Now, what are the different techniques of pathology. What we routinely do and what you will be doing in your practicals is light microscopy, in which the tissues are examined with the help of the light microscope. Okay, and you have different types of microscopes also. You have the electron microscope, but here for your second year, and what we routinely do is the light microscopy. Second is histochemistry, is studying the chemistry of the tissues. Now the whole era of pathology and the diagnosis is now going on to immunohistochemistry. What is immunohistochemistry? Immuno means something dealing with the immunological markers, and histochemistry is the study of the tissues. So immunohistochemistry employs antibodies, that is immunoglobulins with antigen specificity, to visualize the different substances or the antigens in the tissues of cell preparations. Electron microscopy is the study of disorders at the organelle level. Electron microscopy helps you to see the individual organelle of the cell and for demonstration of various viruses. You have the biochemical techniques, the fluid and electrolyte hemostasis, the serum enzyme assays, and you have the different hematological techniques for the diagnosis and study of blood disorders. In molecular pathology, many advances have come from relative new science of molecular pathology. It helps us to study the defects in the chemical structure of the molecules arising from errors in the genome using in situ hybridization. For example, the Hg molecule, the collagen molecule, and the different alterations in the genome. Now coming on to the basic two parts of pathology. One is general pathology and the second is systematic or systemic pathology. When we talk of general pathology, what do you mean? General pathology is understanding the basics of pathology. Only if you understand general pathology, that is the basic concepts of etiopathogenesis, you will be able to understand the different lesions that are occurring in the different systems of the body. What are the different systems? You have the CVS, you have the RS, you have the GIT. So general pathology is our current understanding of the causative mechanisms and the characteristics of the major diseases. In Robbins, the first 9 chapters constitute general pathology, in which we talk about the basic techniques of study of pathology. We talk of cell injury and cellular adaptation. We talk of immunopathology, we talk of amyloidosis, the basic concepts of derangements of homeostasis and hemodynamics, the most important topic of inflammation, healing, the different infectious and the parasitic disorders, the environmental and the nutritional disorders, the genetic and the pediatric disorders, and last but not the least, most important, about neoplasia. Why neoplasia occurs, what are the different causes of neoplasia, how does invasion occur, how does metastasis occur. So if you want to have a grasp of systemic pathology of the different organ systems, you have to read and understand general pathology very, very well. It is the foundation of systemic pathology. Now, in systemic pathology, you will be covering the different organ systems of hematology, the lymphoreticular system, the blood vessels, the heart, the respiratory system, the oral cavity, the salivary gland, the GIT, the liver, the biliary tract, the kidney, the lower urinary system, the male reproductive system, the female reproductive system, breast, skin, endocrine, the musculoskeletal system, the soft tissue tumors, the nerve system, the nervous system, and many others. So in learning pathology, there are 2 apparent difficulties that we face, that is the language process. So the student must not confuse the learning of the language with the learning of the mechanisms of the disease and their effects on individual organs. So we come across very typical terms in pathology. We come across terms like hyperplasia and hypertrophy. Apparently, when we pronounce it, they seem similar, but definitions and implications are entirely different. For example, when we talk of congestion, when we talk of hyperplasia, when we talk of hypertrophy, apparently they seem similar, but basic mechanisms of occurrence are absolutely very different. Now, pathology is a very intricate subject that can be learned through a variety of media. The most important, what we are missing in this era of the COVID pandemic, is the didactic lectures. There is nothing better than face-to-face didactic lectures, what the teacher teaches to the student. Though in this era of CBME, we are coming up with flip-flop classrooms, we are coming up with flipped classrooms, we are coming up with self-directed learning. They are also very important methods of teaching, but didactic lecture is one of the most important methods of teaching any subject. I hope that from the 1st of February, we'll be able to take up face-to-face didactic lectures. Because of this COVID pandemic, now taking online lectures is the new normal. So we have to also adapt to this mode of teaching. With this, what happens is that we are not able to have eye-to-eye contact with the students. We are not able to understand whether the student is understanding to the fullest of our capacity. But still, in a die-hard attempt in this era of COVID pandemic, I request you all to be going through all the online lectures that faculties put up on your group, so that you go through it, try to understand, and come back to us with the different problems that you have. So pathology is learned through a variety of media like didactic lectures, tutorials, post-mortem teaching, problem solving. Now, disease mechanisms constitute general pathology. So it is basically, general pathology is a logical and orderly way of thinking about diseases and their characteristics, and it must be cultivated. So with general pathology, what do you understand? What is the incidence? What is the etiology? What is the pathogenesis? What are the different pathological and the clinical features? And what can be the prognosis? Now, what is pathogenesis? Pathogenesis refers to the sequence of events in the response of the cells or the tissues to the etiologic agent from the initial stimulus to the ultimate expression of the disease. The mechanism through which the etiology operates to produce the pathologic and the clinical manifestations. I repeat, what is pathogenesis? The sequence of events that are occurring in the cells and the tissues, starting from the initial stimulus to the ultimate expression. And it is this pathogenesis that produces the pathological and the clinical manifestations. That is, it is the pathogenesis that answers the why and the how of the disease, the sign and the symptom of the disease. Examples include inflammation, degeneration, immune reaction, and carcinogenesis. Now, basically, as pathologists, we are making diagnosis, attempting to make diagnosis of the various diseases. What is diagnosis? Diagnosis is the act of naming a disease in an individual patient. For example, the patient has typhoid, the patient has jaundice, the patient has malignancy. So it is the process of making diagnosis. It involves taking a very good clinical history. So that is a part of medicine. So if your background of pathology is good and you have understood the pathogenesis, it aids you to take a better clinical history. It helps you to document symptoms. You have to examine the patient for clinical signs, and if necessary and most necessary is performing the judicious investigations that will aid you or guide you to the provisional diagnosis based on the signs and symptoms. I again repeat, judicious investigations. Just because we have to do investigations, we do not have to write investigations in a careless manner. We have to make judicious use of the investigations. Now, what is diagnostic pathology? In living patients, we investigate and diagnose their illnesses by applying the pathological methods to the examination of tissue biopsies and body fluids. Tissue biopsies means histopathology. When we examine body fluids and exfoliative cytology, it is cytopathology. What are biopsies? Biopsies are samples of the tissues that are removed from the patient by the surgeon for diagnostic purposes. And what are resection specimens? Are whole or a part of the organ that are removed for a previously diagnosed condition. Biopsy is a small part of tissue, and resection specimen can either be a whole organ or it can be a part of the diseased organ. Now, biopsies can be performed by various methods. You have just needle biopsy, that is true cut biopsy in cases of breast lesions. You can have endoscopic biopsy of the gastric mucosa, the duodenum, or you can have incisional biopsy, that is a small piece of tissue. And cytology involves examination and interpretation of the dispersed cells rather than solid tissue. In cytology, what we are doing? With a needle, we are aspirating. For example, in a lymph node, we are just aspirating the tissue in the liquid form. So it is basically examination of just the dispersed cells on the slide, and there are no solid tissue. But cytology is the most important mode of diagnosis of cancer and precancerous lesions, especially for CA cervix, as we must have heard about the pap smear. What is the papanicular smear? It is taking the exfoliative cytology of the cervix. Now, these cells can be obtained by a variety of methods according to the organ being investigated. You have exfoliative cytology, that is the cells that are shed from or scraped or brushed off from the epithelial surface, like in cases of the cervix smear. That is when we take the scrape cytology from the cervical canal. Second is fluid cytology. That is, cells are withdrawn with the fluid in which they are suspended. You have the ascitic fluid, you have the pleural fluid, or you can have washings, that is the cells that are flushed out from an organ during an irrigating fluid. And fine needle aspiration cytology are cells that are sucked out of a solid tissue using a thin needle attached to a syringe. So basically these are branches of cytology: exfoliative cytology, fluid cytology, the washings, and the fine needle aspiration cytology. Now what is autopsy? You have heard of this term post-mortem. When a person dies, we perform a post-mortem. What is post-mortem? That is examination of the dead person. Now, when we receive the organs from the post-mortem, it is termed as autopsy. Autopsy is necropsy and post-mortem examination. It means to see for oneself. It is used, the most important mechanism to determine the cause of death is autopsy. Autopsy is just not that we are examining organs of a dead body. No. Autopsy, it helps us to determine the cause of death. It helps us to audit the accuracy of clinical diagnosis, and it is one of the most important mode of education for the undergraduates and the postgraduates. It researches into the cause and mechanisms of the disease. It gathers accurate statistics about the disease. Though there has been a regrettable decline, but autopsy is one of the most important method to diagnose why the disease occurs in a particular patient. So with this, there is lots more to the introduction of autopsy, to the introduction of pathology. But when we will meet in a future lectures, I will be continuing with this topic. When we talk of different systems, when we talk of general pathology, in this first class, basically I have just introduced you to the topic of pathology. What is pathology, what you will be studying in pathology, and what is the importance of studying this subject in detail. And again, a sincere request that please study Robbins. Robbins is the textbook that will give you the entire detail about what exactly pathology is about. After you go through these lectures, when we take those particular topics, you have to go through those particular chapters to aid you in your better understanding. If you have any problem regarding any topic, you can please contact us in our departmental rooms. Thank you very much.